I am standing in the doorway. Sunlight blinds my eyes. The shadows tell the story to a rose and amber sky. How the journey changed and fear became the guide. I was born a cosmic drifter. I love the great unknown. Cosmic drifter. Though lately I've been more a prisoner, and I am not alone. No, you're not alone. Where I am is here. What I am is flesh and bone. Here and now in flesh and bone. The sky is wide open. Blue yonder, wild and free. The sky is wide open. Look ahead and see. Let me tell you. Come on.
Sky's the limit, I keep drifting. Constantly feeling like I'm a misfit. Offer me salary and I'm tempted, but I can't not live this life for 1 minute. I was born to do this, so sick and tired of trying to prove it. Sometimes I feel like I'm a loser, can't do it. This is a movement, and I'm paying more than 2 cents. My voice is my music, the first language that I'm fluent. Swamp sisters, we been cruising. With the troopers keeping it moving. Now let's do this.
Where we are is here. What we are is flesh and bone. In the mirror of the after, will my reflection be the same? In the wake of disaster, does one reach a higher plane? And once the scourge is ended, will something wonderful remain? Or will it leave an ugly stain? The sky is wide open. Blue yonder, wild and free. The sky is wide open. Look ahead and see. We are cosmic drifters.
Oh my goodness. If you loved that, you are going to love today's show. I am super excited to have a dear old friend back on the program and a new one as well. Welcome back to Front Porch Radio, everyone. Today we're celebrating community, conversation, and the music that brings us together. I'm Julie Wilder, and today we've got a stellar show lined up with not one, but 2 incredible guests who are shaping the sound of our region in powerful ways. First up, we have local legend Beth McKee, an artist and activist and a force of nature in the world of Southern roots music. Through her work with the Swamp Sistas Lala Foundation, she's built a movement that blends rhythm with purpose, using music as a tool for connection and change. Orlando Sentinel recognizes her as one of 10 people who makes Orlando a better place to live, while Orlando Weekly proclaims her as one of 14 artists who are reshaping the Orlando music scene, and Orlando Magazine fittingly deemed her Woman of the Year. She's been praised by Downbeat Magazine for honoring the deep traditions of blues, R&B, gospel, and Southern rock. Her latest EP, Monday After Sunday, is a powerful 6-song journey through the highs and lows of the American South. Also joining us is a diehard bundle of talent and grace, Rachel Decker, frontwoman of Oak Hill Drifters and the better half of alt country duo Rachel and George. Rachel's love for country music started early, way back in 2nd grade when she sang her first solo while perched on a pile of hay bales. That love led her to stages around the country and across the world, playing rockabilly festivals and bringing vintage Americana sounds to life. These two incredibly talented and passionate musicians found each other through Swamp Sistas and are collaborating on a new project called Power Lines, a musical endeavor bringing together some of the region's most talented voices. Welcome back to Front Porch Radio, Beth, and welcome for the first time, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie. We're awfully happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I am so excited, Beth. You've been on the program before, way back in the day. And I am so upset that's the first time I've heard that song. We were just playing Swamp Sistas' Cosmic Drifter. Tell us all about that song, because that was an amazing collaboration. I recognize several voices.
Well, thank you. It was an amazing collaboration. It was kind of came together during the pandemic period when we were all trying to figure out ways to stay connected with each other and create art and have our voices be heard. And so I thought that we could write this song, and I reached out to a bunch of my sisters and friends to add parts, the ones that had access to studio time, because it was all, mail in your part, email me your part, including, and I'm most proud of the rap section verse on that, which was done by local, also legend in my mind, Etern.
I know. I was
So
just
cool.
saying I have to have her on the program. It's a major oversight. I haven't had Etern on here yet.
Well, the timing is great. It'll be great, and I know Etern will bring a lot to the table when she comes to talk with you. But so yeah, Rachel and some other women and some men. Bunky Garabrandt played some horn parts for us, and I used my band for the basic rhythm tracks, and I played the keyboards, and then we just kind of put it all together and put it out. And it's part of my last EP. I just kind of bundled it with the EP and then released it as a single too, for whatever that means in the universe today, which is not much. But we celebrated.
The party was really fun.
The party was really fun. We had an event called the Cosmic Conjunction Function.
Ooh.
Because that was in 2022, so it was just the barely end of the pandemic. We were just feeling brave enough to come back out
You
and
could tell people were ready. We were ready to see each other.
We're back, yes.
Yeah.
And we all met at Will's Pub and had several acts on all stages and made it perfectly clear that we had, changed the language in our founding documents to be more inclusive, not just for women. So,
Right.
So the Swamp Sistas La Foundation has a bifold mission of community service while supporting originally women in the arts, but now we say women and all artists who, especially, and with a particular emphasis on those from marginalized communities, including women. We feel kind of marginalized these days. So
Yes. Seems to be happening again. Who was surprised?
And so
Same story, different day.
Yeah.
it comes back around.
Yeah. It's just a hobby of some people's to do all that. Anyway, we're not going to dwell too much on that.
Right.
Well, we want to dwell on solutions.
Yeah.
And on how to and tips for survival.
Yeah.
And tips for having ways to have our voices and our minds be heard.
And if there's one thing that musicians know about, it's thriving and surviving
In desperate
in
situations.
desperate times, right?
With not much on hand, you can.
Yeah, I keep hearing the phrase, you have everything you need and make do with what you have kind of thing in my head. It's just been kind of like this thing that's been going on. And that's definitely something that just watching the Swamp Sisters project evolve over, how long has it been?
Oh, it's been 12 years now.
12 years, yeah. It's just been an incredible force for good And what I love about that is like, you know, it really is coming from a place of there's plenty for everyone to go around. And even as that kind of, even knowing how artists can be financially struggling, you still have this incredible mission to help feed people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been so fortunate to partner with my favorite food bank, Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida, on many occasions, and help them and work with them to either volunteer in their warehouse. We a lot of times have events where we'll kind of bring all of our followers in to volunteer in the food bank warehouse, and then we'll kind of have a little jam party afterwards. We call them volunteer jams. I guess that makes sense. And
brilliant.
And we've actually, over the years, with various fundraisers, we've raised over $250,000 for them to use to help feed members of our community. And with the Second Harvest Food Bank's amazing efficiency rate, that means 1 million meals.
Wow. That's an incredible impact.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm. Something to feel really good about. And you know what? It's nothing but a bunch of friends. It's nothing but a bunch of friends coming together and using their social energy to have the social interaction and do a little something good.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, I might as well. They call that, in certain circles, they call that stacking functions, where you're like, okay, I'm going to have a blast.
Right.
And we're also going to do some good while learning some things and making friends and strengthening ties, if you will. And, you know, all of that. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. You touched dabbled for a second on the pandemic. And, I mean, in a lot of ways, we're still, like, trying to emerge from that cocoon while also on the cusp of, I don't know what's going on with the bird flu. We don't know, like, because there's no information anymore about it.
We don't know anything.
We don't know anything. And so there's this, you know, I know one of the industries that got hit pretty hard was the music industry, because obviously there wasn't a lot of playing out in crowds, because crowds were not a thing we were allowed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
So how did both of you make it through the pandemic? What did you guys do? Did you just get into like, okay, I'm just going to make music mode, or?
Well, there was some of that. I have a day job. Mm-hmm. I am a flight attendant, so that was also very strange as well. But I mean, it was especially so. George, my husband, we have the duo. We got together and we wrote. Like, we worked on music, just worked on music together, and and then when it was okay, then we started bringing that to the rest of our band and expanding it out from there. But really, it was, in a way, I kind of miss it a little bit in an odd way, because it was such a time of like, you know what, you can't do anything, so why don't you just work on some music? Yeah,
sometimes the constraints that you're given, you know, create these parameters from which you have to operate. And sometimes, you know, if you had been going on in a normal way, maybe you wouldn't have had that more dedicated, not to say that we want to bring pandemics on so that we can dedicate ourselves to songwriting.
Right. But maybe it gives you a little clarity about like, oh, that's what's important.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Beth? What was it like for you?
Well, I picked a lot of weeds. I took on a personal pogrom on something called Florida. Oh, I've already forgotten the name of it. But the good news is I did not make a dent. It's all back.
The weeds?
Yeah.
You made a dent for that moment.
For that
That's
one
right.
brief and shining
For a little while.
Yeah.
And I was like, pulling weeds. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And I did do some, you know, creative, expend some creative energy too. And just kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of a homebody anyway. So I'll be honest, it wasn't that it's hard for me to stay at home with my dogs.
Yeah.
You know, like, and pull weeds.
Yeah.
and just be, but, you know, of course, our income stream, and then try to figure out how to pivot.
Right.
We tried to, we hosted a La.
Oh, virtually.
Virtual
that's right.
La. Yeah. Rachel was huge help in that because she's wonderful with marketing and she knows how to grab a phone and make a video that, you know, sends a message. So we were, even during the pandemic, we were able to raise, I don't know, $35,000-$40,000 for the food bank.
Wow.
Just by getting everyone to
That is not insignificant.
It's not, is it?
No, that is not insignificant. That's incredible.
We're very proud of that. And in the time since then, kind of trying to come back out, it's been a very gradual thing. And I don't know that we have really.
Yeah, I was going to say, how has it been with like audiences? Like, because I was like, you know what, when the pandemic is out, like that's all I wanted to do was listen to live music. Like I was like, I want to go to concerts, I want to do things. There was
a rush of that for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, okay.
Yeah, back to life. Back. Well, then they blew all their money on concerts.
Yeah.
They're like, right. Now, and this whole thing's rigged, a Ticketmaster, like it's a,
Yeah. So
all the scalpers have figured out the system. It's crazy out there. We don't have to get into that.
Well, it's a complicated scenario, but I think the thing that music brings is an opportunity to gather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually if people are showing up to see a particular artist or group of artists, they at least have that much in common with everybody else that's there.
Yeah.
And there you feel a connection a little bit, when you can share that music and fun time together.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter at that point. You're all just there to groove.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're all just there to groove. And I know for me, like I think about, because I used to go to live music all the time before I had a kid. And then I have to stay home with the child at night, And so I think about that trajectory of like, okay, you have all these people that at a certain age, have the freedom to go out and go to music, and then they become parents, and then they have to stay home. And then later, I'm looking forward and not to my child being,
autonomous,
and I had to worry about it, and then you are like, okay, I can go out again, and so you have to deal with all of these different like factions as a musician. And, I just think about like also like the musicians that were popular before things like Spotify and, I'm like, oh yeah, that person was big in my day, but I'm not following them on Spotify because it just didn't occur to me to, it's just like one of those things. So the music industry has gone through so many changes, but what I love is that local music has always stayed steady because you've had all these changes in formatting and you've gone from, analog to digital. But the weaving together, on purpose and intentionally has always been something that Beth, you've done through Swamp Sisters, like very intentionally, like, no, we're going to build community and we're going to hype each other up and we're going to just help each other grow and we're going to share each other's, raw material and workshop it with each other as a group of like professional collaborators. Am I getting it all right? What am I missing, Rachel? Because I know that you met Beth through Swamp Sisters, right?
I did. I started seeing her, like her shows being announced, and I've been, word of mouth, things kind of get through the grapevine. I'm like, man, I should go check some of this stuff out. And so I went to go watch her. I don't even remember. It might have been at Park Avenue CDs, outside of Park Avenue CDs the first time.
That would have been 2012.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I went and saw you, and I just remember hearing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, aside from being just a phenomenal musician herself,
absolutely,
she's also just like, let's do this. Let's get together.
I was quite taken with like your presence. Like you're just very, it's your natural state is playing music. That's your natural state, and it just comes through so wonderfully. And it was, I was very much like, I want to be part of this. I'm going to keep coming.
Yeah. She's been incredible. I've been watching you just nurture especially younger talent in the community. And I know that that's heavily influenced by your time in New Orleans.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Two points I will address about that.
Yeah.
That's perfect. One being that the time that I spent in New Orleans and in Austin, Texas before that. And
makes so much sense.
Two major music scenes, and the reason that both of those scenes thrived so well, in my opinion, was the fact that all the musicians were in it together. There wasn't backbiting and competition and people complaining about other acts. Everybody was supporting each other. People were playing on each other's records. People were showing up at each other's gigs and sitting in, and it made that sense of community. And I really, really wanted Orlando to feel like that.
Yeah.
So because I live here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to feel like that, so that has been a big part of my mission personally, is to kind of help foster a community vibe of support and interaction.
Yeah.
Versus competition and, that undercutting each other.
That weird stuff that
And
happens.
the other point about the Louisiana connection, and that ties in with Swamp Sistas and what we're talking about today, is the multi-generational aspect. When you go to a festival in Louisiana, whether it's the Jazz and Heritage Festival that's so well known, or the Festival Acadiens in Lafayette, Louisiana, you will see multiple generations hanging out, partying, dancing, enjoying the music together. I mean, the first time I saw that as a teenager in Lafayette was like a grandmother and a little 2-year-old dancing. I was like, that is what that. And I'm all about it. And I've been trying to figure out ways as much as possible to, to bring all of us together, regardless of age, and of course, regardless of gender or gender identity and race and all that. That goes without saying. And it's hard, to attract, like, how am I going to make a 12-year-old want to come to my gig?
Right.
I'm working on it, though.
Yeah, she was just recruiting the girl maxing TJs. Yep.
Beth is really good at recruiting.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, she did you were part of a zebra coalition. I don't even know what was going on, honestly. You were putting on a show. I can't remember. I was such a busy mom, but I know Max made this really cool backdrop.
It was so awesome with the octopus's garden.
Yeah.
Well, that was in the fall of 2023, and we hosted Zebra La La. La La is our word brought from Louisiana for a party with a purpose where friends, family, musicians all gather, have fun, sing and dance, and everybody just throws whatever they can afford into a jar to help further a community cause or organization. So we wanted to do that for the Zebra Foundation.
Yeah. And
we decided another way to do it would also to host a workshop for members of teen members of the Zebra Foundation, or that utilize the Zebra Youth. And so we met every Monday for about 12 weeks and practiced and put together a show. And we had backdrops and scenery, and that's what your kid was very instrumental in pulling together, so that we had collaboration. They were collaborating on artwork while we were working with some of the others on music and songs. And Amy LaCours, who's a local comedian that you also should have on the show. I'll give you her number.
Okay.
Fabulous. And so she coached some to do comedy sets. And then we brought all that together with us performing Swamp Sistas and my band and some other bands, and had a big event, our Zebra La La, to raise money for the Zebra Youth at the Renaissance Theater.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience for all of us, and I hope that we can do it again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, everything that you do just impacts so many people around you. I mean, musicians in general, when you're out there listening to live music and just getting in the feels and the rhythm, and just having, just being in pleasure and forgetting about everything going on around you. Just that alone is a balm to people's soul. But you're just like next level, which, somewhere in New Orleans or Austin, it's just normal, But here it's like crazy that it is like this standout thing. This should just be normal. This should just be normal. But you've been normalizing it for over a decade here in Central Florida, and I'm so grateful for you. You're working on a collaboration, and I really want to hear all about it. But first, I think we should play this next song so people get a little taste, because we've been talking about the music for a little bit, and so we want everyone to listen to the song. But don't go away after the song, because we're going to talk about more collaboration after that.
Are you going to play the Oak Hill Drifters song?
The Shindig.
Shindig.
Oh, yeah.
So I was fortunate.
Set it up.
Yeah. I'll let Rachel say.
So this is actually a song about the pandemic. I wrote it like when we were starting to come towards the end of it, and the light was coming out. Like we're starting to be, it's coming to the end. We're gonna get together. So it's just a song about getting together, rejoicing with people again, and it was a party. And I was like, well, let's get some squeeze box on it, man. That's a party. So, and my band is all on board, and So we got trumpets, but my favorite part is the squeeze box, honestly.
Okay, and you're on this track, Beth, right?
That's me playing the squeeze box.
All right, so this is the Oak Hill Drifters Shindig featuring Beth McKee here. Here we go.
There we go.
Meet me on the floor, 'cause I wanna rock some more. Maybe it's a wild shindig. The party's getting stronger, so bring your chum along. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Dancing in the streets, yeah, or in between the sheets. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Celebrating gladly, flirtating madly. Baby, it's a wild shindig. Locked inside for oh so long, we're ready to get out and play. I miss my friends and where we go. I know we're on to stay. In my house, no one around. Music's burning up in me. Curfew is lifted, no quarantine. Time to meet my bad honey. Well, meet me on the floor, 'cause I wanna rock some more. Baby, it's a wild shindig. The party's getting stronger, so bring your chum along. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Dancing in the streets, yeah, or in between the sheets. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Celebrating gladly, flirtating madly. Baby, it's a wild shindig. Meet me on the floor, 'cause I wanna rock some more. Baby, it's a wild shindig. The party's getting stronger, so bring your chum along. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Dancing in the streets, yeah, or in between the sheets. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Celebrating gladly, flirtating madly. Baby, it's a wild shindig. Friends from over here and friends from over there. Everyone gathers round. Twisting and shouting, laughter and batting. Oh, so many happy sounds. Lovers reuniting, everything's exciting. Music's burning up the scene. Join us in the dance hall, it's so good to see you all. No better company. Well, meet me on the floor, 'cause I wanna rock some more. Baby, it's a wild shindig. The party's getting stronger, so bring your chum along. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Dancing in the streets, yeah, or in between the sheets. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild shindig. Celebrating gladly, flirtating madly. Baby, it's a wild shindig. Well, celebrating gladly, flirtating madly. Baby, it's a wild
Woo! That was awesome.
Well, that's cha-cha-cha thrown in.
That was amazing. Yeah, like that should be like the thing that gets the party started every time.
Thank you.
So everyone can find that. Talk to us a little bit about Oak Hill Drifters. We haven't like touched on some of your projects yet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we play around here and there. We stay fairly busy.
Yeah.
I think we stay fairly busy. We have a monthly residency up at New Smyrna Beach at Casey's up in New Smyrna Beach. We play at the beach side up there. We're rounding about here and there. We just played last weekend at the Indie Folk Fest along with Beth.
Yes.
Actually, which was
One
awesome.
of my favorite events.
It was so much fun.
I
And
had to miss it because I was at the work, which was fine. It's all good.
It's got to happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did a little bit of a Wills thing that night with the Tremolords, our friend the Tremolords and the Token Hearts out of Atlanta. And then next weekend we are playing Porch Fest up in
cool.
Singford. So.
Oh, awesome.
They're the hardest working band in Orlando, Oak Hill Drifters.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We were just talking before the show that I had some of the original band members on, and it's gone through changes, I'm sure. So it's been a staple in the community for a long time. So it's fun to see that the band is still existing, even though it's shifted over time.
Yeah.
And you also have a dynamic duo that plays at Little Indies.
Yeah, well, that would be my husband, George, and I. We play every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday, from 7 to 9 at Little Indies. And actually, that came about also partially because of the pandemic, because George and I we got together over the pandemic.
Oh, a pandemic romance.
Yes, indeed. But we'd been standing next to each other on stage for like years before that, and it wasn't until that point we were like, oh,
hey.
Hi. Well, hey there, you.
You want to cozy up?
Yeah. So we were able to start kind of working on things together and practicing. We start doing some songs that wouldn't normally fit with the Oak Hill Drifters, sort of format that we do. And now we just kind of mess around at Indies, and it's very casual. It's very casual.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful midweek gathering
Yeah.
for folks in the neighborhood. I know everybody enjoys stopping in.
And it was funny because you were talking earlier about how we've kind of shifted as musicians, and I'm like, the 7 to 9 slot is wonderful for me.
Yes.
Like, I don't, there's because we'll have other bands like Nestos Jazz, I think, is doing stuff now from, I think, 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, man, that's still a school night for me.
Yeah, man. There's like a whole trend now. Like there's like clubs that are like from 7 to 10, and it's like everybody, like women go out and they dance their booties off.
And then they're home by 10.
And then they're home by 10. Lots of mocktails going on because we all have things to do.
Yeah. Although I will say, Nestos Jazz is worth staying till 1 o'clock in the morning. They are worth it. Yeah.
I'm sure.
But yeah,
for the rest
sometimes.
of us.
Well,
sometimes.
I'm down with that 100%. And with our upcoming event,
yes,
it starts at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk about your upcoming event, because you have some really amazing things in the pipeline, Beth, and all for a good cause, and all to kind of bring people together after the pandemic.
Yes, we're working on this collaborative recording project that you mentioned called Power Lines for now until we decide.
Working title,
but it may become the favorite, because Power Lines is one of the songs, and that lyric was added by songwriter Jim Myers, who is also a dear friend.
I know Jim.
And the director of the Melrose Center, and a fabulous songwriter. And he and I have been writing songs together for several years, but I asked him if he would join in on this collaborative project. And when we started passing the lyrics to this song, I'll just give you an example. Rachel came over to my house. She had about a 15-second
snippet,
not even much words, just na-na-na-na-na. She just kind of played and hummed it for me. We worked on it for a while, and then I tossed it to Jim. And I was like, Jim. And I had recently discovered this article or writing of the concept called Anam Cara, which is an old Irish Gaelic term for soulful friendship. And I said, let's make this a song about the value of friendship. And he just took it and ran, and one of the lines that he came up with was all across the power lines of time. And, and may you find you're of one mind all across the power lines of time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Really
Isn't
awesome.
it?
Really awesome.
I got chill bumps myself.
And so I'm like, power lines. Friends, I have realized that my friends are my secret power,
Truly.
It is so true. Yeah. And that I include both of you women highly in that, because, not only the support and the encouragement, but the actually doing and saying and moving and shaking. And if not for my friends, the Swamp Sistas La La Foundation certainly would not exist. So I'm very grateful. And so with the Power Lines concept and the collaborative recording project, we're going to need to raise some money for it at some point. So we've decided to host a party that'll be a casual fundraiser. It's more about a party than it is being a fundraiser. And because of my New Orleans ties, and because we love it so much, we're going to have our party on Fat Tuesday.
Of course.
Mardi Gras Day.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Which is what day for people
Thank you, guys. Tuesday. World announcement. People, write this down. Tuesday. Mardi Gras is always on a Tuesday. It's called Fat Tuesday. And this year, it's a little later than normal. It's on March 4th.
All right.
We will March 4th on Fat Tuesday and party at Will's Pub. With our Swamp Sistas Mardi Gras Mambo event.
Ooh.
Which is an all ages
All ages.
Bring the
family,
kids.
friend.
I can bring
yes.
Max.
Yeah.
Yes, you can certainly bring Max. We have a discounted price for students of whatever age. And we are going to have my band plus horns.
What's your band name?
Oh, well, Beth McKee and her Funky Time Band.
All right, well, we got to say it.
Plus, we're having what I've dubbed the brackish horns, which is led by Sister Bunky Garabrandt with our dear friends Bill Wimborne and Clay Watson. So we'll have an actual bona fide horn section. We'll have Swamp Sisters singing harmonies, and we're going to have a Swamp Sisters second line. We do that every year.
Tell people what that is.
Well, in New Orleans, the second line usually happens after a funeral, so technically it's not. But
I mean,
it's basic. Well, it could be
funeral of our democracy. I don't know.
Oh,
Sorry, did that just slip out? Go on. Carry on.
I thought it.
the moment. The moment of a second line is the jubilation and the celebration of life. Okay, and basically what it is sort of a tiny parade with drums and horns and noise.
Yeah.
So we do that typically for a couple of events, private events every Mardi Gras. We go and do a tiny little second line for them, but this will be our first public second line. So we'll have drums and horns and sing Mardi Gras songs and just kind of act silly for a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe just right like up and down the street in front of Will's Pub. No big deal. Maybe around the corner. Maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on the weather. But the whole night is going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. Some of our most devout community members are a family called the Caffreys from Lafayette, Louisiana. And it's two brothers and their wives. And David and Susie are bringing jambalaya.
Oh, it's a real situation.
Bona fide jambalaya.
Mm-hmm.
David's brother Tom is providing the king cake. Janine Gage is going to make some vegan red beans and rice because she's an amazing cook, and we're going to make sure we have something for everybody. And, also the Caffreys are making Frito chili pie.
Okay, it's going to be a real party.
It's going to be a real party.
That
deal.
Tuesday.
There's going to be, Mardi Gras-themed cocktails and Shirley mocktails as well. And we will start early because that is how Mardi Gras rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Mardi Gras is an early evening event. By 9 or 10 o'clock, we'll be done.
Okay, sounds great. Where can people find all the details?
Well, there's on the Will's Pub website.
Okay, yep.
It's on March 4th on their calendar. They can follow Swamp Sistas. That's Sistas with an A on Facebook or Instagram.
all the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
And or our website, swampsistas.com.
Mm-hmm.
I will update that eventually to include information about this event. Maybe tonight.
Right.
Tonight might be a good time for that. But it's just I'll pretty much, if you just Google Swamp Sistas Mardi Gras Mambo, you'll get what you need to know.
All right. Yeah. Now, I'm so excited. Are you okay? So you're going to have that event, and then is there anything coming up afterwards?
Oh, well, the one big thing is that when you start a project, and I've learned this from you, Julie.
Oh, okay.
Is that it's not really a project until it has a deadline.
You know me, I'm very goal oriented.
So we do have a deadline.
Okay.
And we have a release event
Okay.
for this record.
Already?
Yes.
I am so excited. I'm so proud of you, Beth. This is so great.
It's November.
Fantastic.
November 7th, I think. But
Okay.
November.
No problem.
And it's going to be at the Timucua White House.
Beautiful.
And we'll be, of course, showcasing this album that we're going to make and raising money for Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida.
All at the same time.
So woman who gets things done.
I know. She really does.
Eventually.
In its own right timing, Beth.
Well, you have to. Yeah, that's right. I'm a big believer in the timing. That when it feels good, that's when you should do it.
Yes. That's when you got that, the wind at your back kind of thing. I know all about that.
And now you soar.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about jubilation for a second?
Yes.
Because I have a special relationship with Jubilee. I've got my bookstore's got its Golden Jubilee coming up, and it might have something to do with the name of the new tea garden going in. Maybe, maybe not.
I love that word so much.
It's so beautiful. And so I was over at my buddy Ryan's house, and he's like, yeah, Sam Rivers has a whole track called Jubilee.
That's right.
And he played it for me, and it was amazing. And so you just mentioned this. Talk a little bit more about jubilation, because it also sounds like a very like Swamp Sisters Beth thing, because Jubilee is all about liberation and celebration, but in community.
Right.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love that word. And
Yeah.
I love it as a name. I think you're right on target. It says so much. And I guess you can pull it off. I was always afraid, for me, a woman of my age and background, Mississippi, that if I started preaching Jubilee, that I would come off like Paula Dean.
The coolest Paula Dean.
And I would do anything to not come
Right.
across like Paula
Paula
Dean.
Dean. Yeah.
No bad feelings, Paula, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think it's my favorite flower is a Jubilee mandevilla, which I have one at my house. I need to see if I can get a cutting for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to plant that at Spiral Circle for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that spirit of being alive, of celebrating, but also like that theme of, I just love the power lines. Because right now, like where are the power lines in ourselves? And, we were just kind of talking about, having a strong spine, like in the break, actually. And just something about, but like having this strong core of power, and the power lines of what connects all of our power together. I'm getting goosebumps while I talk, right? But also like being defiantly jubilant.
Yes.
Right?
That is, I always associated the word Jubilee with emancipated.
Absolutely. That is a huge, especially in the South. That is absolutely what it is associated with. I mean, it's an interesting word because, of course, you have like the monarchy's Jubilee, which is a little bit hoity-toity.
More like the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, and then you have the religious overtones of Jubilee, which was another emancipation of slavery of, I believe, the Egyptians and the Jews.
Yeah.
And so, but it's also especially in the South associated with emancipation of slavery. And so it's definitely, I feel, it's not a word. It's a vibe. It's a whole
It's packed.
Yeah.
It is jam packed with emotion.
Yeah.
Would you say earlier the stacking
functions? Yes. Yeah. And so it's that's what I'm saying. It's like the power lines in the celebration in community where everybody is doing their part, playing the horns, doing the marketing, making the backdrop, making the actual music, writing the song, and collaborating. I think that your project is just speaking so much to the moment that we're arriving in and going to be journeying through together.
Oh, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here, and the time is now to come together. The time is now to create. The time is now to raise our voices, and the time is now to do what we can to help those who need it the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just need to take a moment with that one. We'll let you feel it, guys. Man.
We can do it.
Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it's very interesting. If we can get a little sideways here for just a second, I feel strangely, weirdly, not naively, but I feel calm and on purpose, and like I'm like,
You don't have to be afraid that the thing you've been worried about is going to happen.
Well,
It already happened.
It's already happened. Like I'm like, okay, well, here we are. It's happened.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, well, we're just going to walk in power together. And we're the ones in our local community. The stuff, everything we've been doing about creating community and knowing one each other, and even in the food scene, making sure that we know our farmers, and we have a support of we just had my friend Maggie on talking about the Florida Herbal Conference, which is happening on March 1st. You guys are on March 4th. And just doing what we can as a community, propelled like this. Nobody was like, hey, we need this, Beth. Why don't you, you were just saw a need and you said, I am an individual that I've seen this model for sure, and I can't exist in a culture any other way. So I'm going to just bring this here, right? But you didn't ask for permission for that. You just did it.
And the beauty of Orlando is that it's a city with not that many gatekeepers, so it was really easy to do.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you can think of in Orlando. There's really not anybody holding you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of feel like people aren't too proprietary. You know, that's one thing I was talking to Beth about actually on the way over here is I love, you talk about that little snippet that I loved giving that to you and then just watching it go.
Yeah.
And everything that I've seen you've been doing, it's nothing belongs to anyone particularly, you know, and I feel like that's a huge part of our community.
Yeah.
It's like you bring an idea and then you see where it goes and it's wonderful.
Yeah. You let it become, you know, its own animated thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It takes on its own life.
Yeah.
For sure. And the connection that you get with a person co-creating is just undeniable. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I like writing songs by myself, and I've written some songs, some of my better songs. I mean, I don't know, but writing with somebody else and bringing that social interaction to it and bouncing your ideas off, and then when you say something, it makes that person think of something else. So something's going to come into the picture that you never would have thought of.
Right.
And that's what I'm always looking for, something I never would have thought of.
Yeah.
And my friends, they give it to me.
Yeah.
And vice versa. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, and to be able to essentially set egos aside and just create together, co-create.
Yeah.
Co-create and just have that. You have to have a lot of trust, and that comes from knowing someone's character over time and all of that good stuff, which, you know, no question there for me, at least, you know.
Yeah.
You know, good people, you know, attract good people, and I've always been it. For those of you that are listening, I guess I should remind you, I always forget to tell people, you're listening to Front Porch Radio. My name is Julie Wilder. My guests today are Beth McKee from Swamp Sisters is her big, you know, project nonprofit. She also has her own band, Beth McKee and the
Funky Time
and
Band.
the Funky Time Band. And we also have Rachel. I've already forgotten your last name.
Decker, it's okay.
Decker. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I usually have a little sheet in front of me, but with Oak Hill Drifters and Robin. Did I say that right?
It was Robin.
I know. I was like Rachel.
Robin Hood.
My medicine's wearing off, you guys.
I'll answer to it.
Rachel,
It's okay.
Rachel and George at Little Indies. So let's tell people, because we're kind of getting to the last 10 minutes, let's tell people where they can find Oak Hill Drifters and some of your music, because I want to hear Shindig like live again.
You can check out our website. We're on all the social media stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys have anything new coming up?
Nothing. No recordings. We have ideas percolating.
Okay. Things are in the bun. They're percolating. We're in the creative process. Yeah. Liminal space. They're in the liminal space. They're wanting to be born.
She's busy working on another project.
Yeah. And Beth, let's remind everyone where they can find out, because we have Fat Tuesday coming up, where you're going to be doing an incredible fundraiser.
Yes. So I'm Sistas Mardi Gras Mambo at Will's Pub on Mills Avenue.
Can we just shout out to Will's Pub and Little
God
Indies?
bless that man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Will.
Long time. I mean, they've been going for
30 years.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
Long
25,
time.
not
Yeah.
long ago. Yeah, a few years ago, he had the 25th, or in the last year or so.
That is
In this day and age, that's
That's commitment.
That is major commitment.
Yeah.
So shout out to Will for everything that he does for the music scene. Because,
and for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that goes back to my college days, which apparently was not yesterday. So weird.
Don't even get me
So
started.
I have a kid talking about college right now. It's just,
it's insane.
Is that weird?
it's very weird. It's very weird. I don't even know what to do with it. Weird. So let's talk about just a few other things that might be going on in the community that you guys are tapped into, because you know everybody. What's going on in town that people should know about?
Rachel?
Oh, gosh. Did I put you guys on the spot? I forgot. I'm also talking to the homebodies.
Rachel stays in the sky, and I stay on the couch.
Well, there's I actually do look at the Orlando Weekly quite a bit.
Oh, tomorrow
see
night.
What's going on.
Tomorrow night is a beautiful event at Timucua.
Oh yeah, Timucua's
So
great.
the 50th anniversary of an album by a person whose name I cannot tell you right now.
But she promises it's going to be great.
It's going to be
Because
psychedelic.
you've got Terry Binion and
Haley
Kaylee
Baker.
Baker doing background vocals.
Yeah,
for
I
him,
saw
right?
where Bunky's.
They're
gonna
the
be
backup
involved.
singers?
Yeah,
Oh, it must be epic.
right.
It's going to be epic.
Okay.
Is it Timucua or is it Judson's Live?
Oh, I thought it was Timucua.
Well,
might-
if you
but
check
we
it
might
out.
not have the right information, y'all.
If Rachel says Judson's, it might be Judson's.
Anyway, that's what the power of the internet is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look,
Google it,
look
everyone.
for some guy doing a 50th
What do you think we are? A radio station that has it together?
information.
Ridiculous.
Well, what are we reading? What podcasts are we listening to? How are we keeping our zen at the moment? Like, what are your go-tos for self-care, whatever it is?
Well, this is going to sound really like snobbish, but I'm on my third time around of reading James Joyce's Ulysses.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Irish.
Yeah, it is super hard to get through, but I also find it absolutely extraordinary on every page, and it is an absolute escape for me because it's all stream of consciousness thought. Like, it's incredible. Anyway, it takes a lot of my concentration when I'm reading it, and that's what I want right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Focus. How about you, Beth?
The New York Times crossword puzzle.
I love you.
Perfect.
Whatever happened to that Wordle kick everyone was on? I was
Oh,
like
I-
into it for like a
a
solid
lot of
year.
people
I do it
were.
when I get tired of when I finish the puzzle, maybe I might do the Wordle and then the spelling bee.
I love it because I can just get the one thing done and then move on with the rest of my day.
Oh, but Julie, it got bad at my house.
Did it?
My sister and I, because did you know that there's octo Wordle and there's even like a 16 Wordle? Yes, like hexagatakato Wordle. Like you're solving 16 words. We were doing that.
No.
I had to stop it. I had to call it quits.
I have to say, I never once played Wordle. Not once.
Wow.
I
I am
know.
so impressed.
I saw everybody else doing it, and I was like, I'm not going down that hole.
Yeah, it was great because, I mean, I won't tell you why. Everyone knows why it was great. Maybe I should just pick that back up again.
Well, I found another app that is like recreating the old vintage newspaper word jumble, and I'm focused on that now. Remember the word jumble? It had like a little cartoon picture, and it had
Okay.
like words, and it had a little circle on one letter for each
Oh,
word.
yeah.
Then you had to untangle the words, and then pick one letter, one letter that has a circle from each word, and put them all together, and that answers a clue. You don't remember word jumble?
Sounds
Might have been
complicated.
before my time, Beth. Sorry, I'm such
That
a
sounds like a
jerk.
lot of work.
It is. Isn't that the idea?
Hey, what song did you want to listen to at the beginning? Was it The Fall? Is that what you said?
I didn't say, but that would be a good one.
Would it be? Is it?
It was written with one of the Swan Sisters,
Okay.
Renee Arosqueta, who is a wonderfully talented, also local musician. And it's a song that I wrote after seeing some other sisters, friends like Renee and Terry Binion, cope with massive grief. And when I saw them working through their losses to get themselves to a place of okay, I was really inspired by it.
That's very appropriate for right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I just happened to be going through your list, and that one just jumped out at me. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah, I think we're going to sadly have to close the radio show because this is so much fun. I would love to do one. We should collaborate on something with Front Porch Radio and Swamp Sisters, and I don't know.
A Jubilee.
Oh, maybe the Grand. Or the.
And I was going to say, as long as me and Rachel are writing songs together.
Yeah,
And you told me the last time we were in person that you needed
a jingle. I do. Front Porch Radio needs a jingle.
You want?
We used to have a really cool one, and I don't know. It's just not appropriate because we're a different time slot and yada yada. But yeah, let's chat. We're gonna collaborate, y'all. So Swamp Sisters, Oak Hill Drifters, Google it. These ladies are fabulous. If you missed this episode, you're gonna want to follow it up on Substack. I'm podcasting afterwards, so just look for Front Porch Radio on Substacks, where all the good information is these days. This is The Fall. Is it off of an album?
It is off of Dreamwood Acres.
All right, here we go. You guys have a great afternoon.
She has a feeling fall is coming, closes the door, tries to unwind. Yesterday caught her without a warning. She learned her lesson, ready this time. Once you survive the worst that can happen, there's no disaster you can't take on. But everyday problems leave her all rattled, wondering where her courage has flown. But she has right now, love wraps like covers around her, makes her feel better somehow. As hard as she works at keeping out